first question, I kind of want to blend the two. One of my favorite parts of your show, Drake and Josh, was the theme song, and I understand you actually wrote it when you were really young.
Yeah.
Did you always know you wanted to get into music and acting? Did you prefer one over the other, or which one was your first love?
Yeah, I mean, I started acting first when I was very, very young. I was about 5 years old, and just grew up on classic TV and wanted to make people laugh, and it seemed like the most fitting thing. You know, my dad was trying to find something for us to do together, and I wasn't really into sports or anything like that, and so we got into acting and started playing guitar early on, actually, I'll tell you the story of how we got around to get the theme song to Drake and Josh. So, it was after the Amanda Show, and I'd pretty much been writing music and playing and recording songs and everything, and we did the pilot for Drake and Josh, and you guys can hear me okay, right? Okay, cool. It's just a little quiet up here. Okay, so we did the pilot for Drake and Josh, and we were using Lenny Kravitz song, Once You Dig In, You're Gonna Have Yourself a Good Time. And I was like, you know, growing up, it's like when you wake up in the morning and the alarm goes off, you're like, oh, Saved by the Bell's on. Like, yeah. Or you hear, you know, whatever, it's like the theme song is like part of the show, you know? And so I was like, man, if I'm a kid in the other room and I hear some Lenny Kravitz song, I don't know if MTV's on or if it's a commercial for potato chips, like what? We need to have something that like is identifiable to our show. And so the executive producer called me and was like, hey, you know, I want to have a meeting with you and see how much you want to incorporate the music in the show or whatever. We just like, now that we got picked up, want to talk to you about the character, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, oh, okay, great. So this was on a Friday, and I go, okay, I have this meeting on Monday. So I call my buddy up who I was writing music with at the time, and I'm like, bro, we should write a theme song for Drake and Josh.
Oh, they didn't ask you to do it? You just you
No.
took it into your own hands?
No,
Wow,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
So I go, we gotta write a theme song. I've never written a theme song. I don't know what that entails, you know, but I'm like, I know how to write songs. Like, let's write a theme song for the show. So I go to my buddy's house on Saturday, and we're sitting there and listening to all, you know, Full House and Family Matters and all these like great theme songs, you know, and we're just sitting there all day, and I'm like, wait, these are written by like some of the greatest songwriters in the world. Like, what are we trying to do? There's no way we're gonna write a theme song. This is impossible. Like, we set the bar way too high. And so after about like 6 hours of just sitting there staring at each other, I was like, hey, let's not waste the day. Like, let's just write a song. Like, let's just forget about the theme song. Let's just write a song. So we started coming up with like, and we got this like chord progression down and a melody, and I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. Then I was like, wait a minute, I mean, this might be crazy, dude, but what if we write the lyrics about like friendship and about like two buddies that are like from kind of an odd couple, perfect strangers, like, you know, come from the opposite ends, but, you know, we are the missing part that we don't have, you know, like, I'll always be picking you up when you're down, over your shoulder, you know, and I never thought it'd be, like, Josh is moving in, and I never thought it'd be so simple, but I found a way, and I always thought it'd be too crazy, but I found a way, and if you open up your mind, you'll see, you know, see what's inside.
It's gonna take some time
Yeah, it's
to
gonna take some time to realign.
Realize or line?
It's a line.
It's a line.
That's
okay.
That's why it's like we're moving into each other's world, so it's gonna take some time to realign everything.
Yep.
But if you open up your mind, you'll see what's inside, and you know, over your shoulder, you know that I'll always be there picking you up when you're down. So it's like more about these kind of like buddies that come together through kind of different backgrounds and odd circumstances, but become best friends. And I was like, let's write the lyrics about that. Like instead of, you know, writing a love song or a song about a girl or whatever we would write about. And so we started kind of crafting the lyrics towards that. And then we came up with the chorus, the pre-chorus, all that kind of stuff. And we did like a little 1-minute demo that day. And then I had the meeting on Monday. And I went and he was working on Amanda Bynes' other show, What I Like About You. And I went into his office and I'm like, all right, wait, before we start the meeting, I wrote a theme song. And I had like my boombox. It was like we burned the CD and like I had a little boombox. I was like, can you just like listen to it and tell me what you think? And he's like, I'm like 14, 15, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, Drake, like we have people who, like, there's people who do this for a living. Like, I'm not gonna give the theme song to some kid, you know, like. And I'm like, well, dude, just listen to it, tell me what you think. He's like, bro, okay, I'll listen to it, but like on my own time, and then I'll like tell you what I think, or, you know, I'll let you know. And I'm like, no, just listen to it. Like, I'm so excited, I want you to hear it. And he's like, look, honestly, if I don't like it, I don't want to tell you right here that I don't like it, and there's too much expectation from you, like, and I'm like, dude, we've worked together for years, because I'd already done the Amanda show with him. I'm like, we're bros, like, if you don't like it, just tell me, and I'll use it for something else. I'll put it on my record or something. Like, I like the song, like, but I think it could really work as a theme song, thank you. I think it works as a theme song. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? Just like stare at you and tap my foot while it's playing? I'm like, dude, stop making this such a thing. I'm gonna press play, okay? He's like, all right. So I press play. It goes through basically what you see on the show. I think it was like a 30-second demo. And so it's basically the part that you hear on the show. And he's like, play that again.
Good, yeah.
So I play it again, and he just gets up from his chair and unplugs the boombox and goes out onto the stage where they're rehearsing. And he plugs it in and he goes, guys, sorry to interrupt. But you want to hear the theme song to my new show?
Wow.
And I was like, shh, no way.
14-year-old.
And so, yeah. And so he presses play, and then plays it again. And he's like, Drake Bell wrote that. Can you guys believe that? Drake wrote that. Can you believe that? And he goes, hey, now I just got to convince Nickelodeon. He goes, but this is our theme song. He's like, this is perfect. I was like,
the switch up is crazy.
I told you.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so then it became the theme song to Drake and Josh.
That's amazing. I bet you never thought it would be so simple.
But I did.
You found a way. You found a way. You just got to open up your mind, if I'm not right. Well, listen, how do you approach, because your music side is amazing, and how do you approach storytelling through your music compared to your on-screen roles?
Well, I write it. I get to write it, so.
Compared to a script that you
get handed. Yeah, I mean, the
right.
scripts, you know, acting's easy. You show up and say, what did I say? You just show up and say words.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you know? But yeah, music you take from life and experiences, and you get to put your, you know, I don't write journals or diaries, I write songs, so you're able to like, take from that, you know, just from life in general, and figure out how to put it into clever idioms or, you know, ways to say it through melody and try and fit it in there. And, but yeah, it's a lot more free, and
it feels more personal.
It's totally more personal, you know. You get to, it's all you. I get to produce it and say what I want the music to sound like, and tell the musicians what to play, and write the lyrics and the melodies and everything.
Able to pour your passion into something. Yeah, for sure. Well, I love how, like, you said your whole life you've been inspired by Mexican culture, especially growing up in Southern California, and I see, yep, exactly, and I see that you've kind of blended that love within your music. So can you tell me a little bit about that process when approaching that creatively, especially as a second language to you?
Yeah, it's really interesting, because when you're writing in Spanish, you can't just do like direct translations, you know. You can't just say like, because if you took a song in English and then just put it in Google Translate, like it doesn't work. And then things that we would say here that would, you know, like play on words or things that we would say just don't make any sense as just direct translation. So you have to really like, you can't really write in English first and then just translate it. Like I have a song, Fuego Lento, and the English part of the chorus, if you just translated it into Spanish, it wouldn't like hit as hard. So you have to write that part in Spanish. And so I'm usually, I'll like work with somebody who's, you know, because and I learned that through the process of doing it is, I'm like, okay, well I want to say this, you know, this is what I'm like, this is what I would say in English, and they're like, cool, but we would never say that. Like that means not like, we would, like even if I just translated that for you, that wouldn't make any sense. Right. So let's try and like get that idea, but doing it, you know, this is what we would say, or this is how we would phrase that. And so yeah, so it's been like a total learning curve, but you definitely have to write like, you can kind of say like, okay, this is what I want to say, and then figure it out. But it's really hard if you've like written a song in English and then you're like, okay, well I want to do a Spanish version. Like, let's just translate the lyrics. Like, you can't. You have to literally like rewrite the song. Like I had a Christmas song that came out last year, and I ended up not doing the Spanish version, just we didn't have time to get it out by Christmas. But I was sitting there with a friend of mine, and I was like, oh, let's just translate, let's just do the Spanish version of it real quick. And he's like, yeah, but like, the candy canes and the reindeer and the this and that. He's like, that's not, and so we had to literally like rewrite the song, and the lyrics were totally different, you know?
Right. Yeah. I feel like from listening to your music, you connect a lot to your lyrics, and you can really see your passion that you pour into your music, like truly. And especially with the I Kind of Relate song music video that came out this past year, you've truly found in the lyrics beauty in your pain, and I truly believe that's such a beautiful thing. And
yeah, that's a really special song to me. That was one of the first songs I wrote for the record. I didn't even know I was making a record at first, and then it turned into a 35-track album. Yeah. It's like, it's non-stop. And I started writing that song, and that was really the first kind of catalyst to making this whole record. But yeah, the lyrics, like, that's one of the whole album really is like the most autobiographical, vulnerable, like heart on the sleeve, open up my diary and read, you know. If you ever want to know what's going on in my life, just listen to my new record, you know. It's like
music's your therapy.
Yeah, totally.
Sense,
yeah.
For sure,
and then the
sure.
Music video, for sure. I mean, I when we first had the concept for the music video, I was like, yeah, this could be really cool, but I don't know, we're kind of
taking a chance.
We're pulling the curtain back a little too much, I think.
Right.
But no, it turned out to be a really beautiful piece of art. Really great. Some of my favorite lyrics in there, like you said, like, you know, like I kind of relate, I found beauty in my pain. I'm running away from all the abuse and all the shame, because no one comes to my house anymore, no one knocks on my door. I kind of relate the wrong decisions I have made. I wanted to stay, but I couldn't last another day. My golden days seem so far away, so I'm running away. Lost my path so long ago, but in 2008 I found love in Mexico, because no one wants to hear me in the States. Like, I was going deep.
No, it's great.
I was like,
I love it. Like, seriously, it's truly amazing, and I think a lot of people can kind of relate.
Yeah, well.
Well, to pivot to your acting side of things, I loved, as a child, watching, I was born in 2001, so kind of with the show, I loved watching Drake, stop it, oh my gosh. Well, I loved watching Drake and Josh with my sister growing up, because I was a very young child when it came out, and I related more to Megan and your younger sister in the show. And I know, I was there. If you don't, just let you know, just in case. And in a way, my older sister was the same age as you and Josh in the show. So it was a fun way to kind of bond and understand our sibling dynamic growing up, because I was, you know, a terrifying younger sister.
Dynamic's a good way to say rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. I maybe threw a chair at her door once or twice, it's fine. So did the vibe between you, Josh Peck and Miranda Cosgrove, reflect that sibling dynamic in the show in person, or was the Drake and Josh set strictly business, like acting?
No, and also, I mean, the dynamic on the show is completely different than our real dynamic. I mean, you know, Megan was a nightmare. But Miranda was incredible, you know? And what's so awesome about working with Miranda is I started working with her when she was 7 years old. And so on the pilot, she was only 7, and she was the cutest little... I remember, because I'd known, because I'd worked on Amanda's show prior, so it was the same crew and writers and everything. And it was like the cool thing, like you go up and hang out in the writer's room, and they'd all be working, and it was like, just like a cool place to go up and hang out, you know, and it was a lot of, you know, really funny, and it was just, that was what we did on the Amanda show. So on the pilot of Drake and Josh, it was like, I remember this one lunch break, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go up and hang out with the writers for lunch, you know, and so I'm like, and at lunch, everyone scatters to go to wherever they're gonna go have lunch, you know, and, you know, there's some restaurants next door, whatever. And so the stage is empty. You know, that's kind of like turns into a little ghost town. And I'm walking and thinking I'm walking by myself to go up to the writer's room, and I hear this little like pitter-patter, 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 pitter-patter behind me, you know? And I'm like, what is that? And I turn around, and here's little 7-year-old Miranda with her big eyes, and she just goes, where are we going?
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, I'm gonna go up to the writer's room, and we need to find your mom. Like, and she was just coming right around the corner, and she's like, Miranda, come on, you know?
Oh my goodness.
And then we were so we're in the schoolroom, and little Miranda, she's like on her chair turned around,
right.
And she's like, you know, with the back like this, and she's sitting on it like this, and she's like doing her homework, and she's just like, just the cutest. She was just so, and she still is. She's the same, literally the same person. She's just so unaffected and so sweet and so cute. And they come into the schoolroom to ask us what we want for lunch one day. This was like first or second day, and there's like an Italian restaurant next door, or there's like a burger place across the street. And you know, it's like, oh, I'll have the, you know, pesto penne or
Pasta
whatever.
visual.
Or I'll have a cheeseburger or whatever. It's just simple, you know. And so me and Josh like tell them what we want, and they're like, and Miranda, would you like anything? She's like, I'll have the steak and lobster.
Yep. And I'll have you pay for it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, honey, this is Nickelodeon. Like,
Yeah.
we're not getting a steak and lobster for lunch, okay?
How funny.
But yeah, she was adorable. But no, so the dynamic was like, we all loved each other. We had a great time, and you know, Jonathan who played Audrey, and Jonathan who played Walter, and Nancy who played Audrey, and the whole cast was. It was a great set to work on, because we just all got along so well, and it was great.
It definitely reflected in the show. You could tell you guys are having a good time.
Yeah, no, it was a blast.
Do you, aside from the Megan, the Miranda story, do you have a favorite memory or behind the scenes moment from working on Drake and Josh? Anything that comes to mind?
I get that question all the time, and it's so hard because there's so many, like, just great moments.
And I like asking that question because it makes you think of
really,
the good time.
like, a lot of the fun ones were, like, when we're working, when we're doing night shoots, like when we have to take the cake to our aunt's wedding so that we get her beach house. Yep. We have to start shooting once the sun goes down, and then we shoot until the sun comes up. And this happened on Drake and Josh Go Hollywood too. So whenever it's a night shoot, we get there like an hour or two before the sun goes down, and then right when it gets dusk, and then we start shooting, and we shoot until the sun comes up. Well, that gives us like total delirium. Like that's when, you know, when it gets to be around like 2:30, 3, 4 in the morning, and then everyone's just slap happy, and we literally can't get through scenes because we're making each other crack up, and like we're exhausted, but we still have to like act like it's only 7 p.m. So those overnight shoots were always they were always like, oh, we gotta do a night shoot, like this is gonna be. But then by the time it got to be 3 or 4 in the morning, you're literally just like they're like, how are we gonna wrangle these two guys right now? Like they're gone. Like we're like, no, we got it, you know. And then Josh would do something, and we would just die because we were just like exhausted and slap happy, and we're like, what are we doing? It's like, oh my God, and they're like, guys, the sun is coming up. Like we have to finish this scene. Like we're gonna. It's usually we're saying we're gonna lose light. It's getting dark. We're losing light. But it's like, guys, the sun. We won't be able to shoot for night anymore. Like let's go, come on. But those are some of the fun times.
Awesome. Well, it gets you motivated to finish at a certain time.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, those overnight shoots, me and Josh had. There's some stories I'll reserve for the book or something.
Okay, fair enough. Well, many fans grew up watching you, and how has that connection with your fans shaped your career, and what's one message you'd like to share with them today?
You know, one of the coolest things hearing from fans is, well, there's two things. It's like hearing that, you know, oh, I grew up on the show, or like you said, you know, me and my brothers and my family, where there was like one show we were able to all sit down and watch together.
Finally get along.
And I would be Drake, and my brother was Josh, and we had a little sister, and so it's like, you know, even my grandma loved the show, like, so that's really cool. And then also just how the show is like, just lives on and on. I mean, I have kids coming up that their parents grew up on the show, and then the kids are like 8, 9 years old, 7 years old, and they're like, yeah, I'm just starting them on Drake and Josh, and they're like, oh, I love the episode when here's my impression of you. Hey ladies, you know, and I'm like, you're 7. I'm like, how do you even know? You weren't even alive when we got canceled. Like,
oh my gosh.
Like, but so it's really cool to see that the show just kind of it just keeps going and going and lives on. Yeah.
It's one of those shows that's just immortal. Like it truly is. It lives up to this day. So before we wrap up, I do want to plug your show that's happening tomorrow night at 7 to 2 a.m., right?
Guys.
You can get your tickets on the NostalgiaCon website if you were interested in coming. They're still available. So can you give us a little insight or a sneak peek to your performance at the party that's happening tomorrow?
Yeah, it's just me and my guitar. Oh, actually, a buddy of mine's going to come play piano. I should probably actually go rehearse a little bit with him.
Maybe we should.
But yeah, it's me. I just play songs from the new record, play some old songs, play some stuff you're familiar. I don't know. It's just
a fun time. It'll be a fun time.
It's me and my guitar, man. Come on and hang out.
Awesome. Well, let's give a big round of applause to Drake Bell. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Do you guys have any questions?
Have any questions?
Do you want to ask? We have some time.
Anything?
We have some time. Yeah, come on up. I'll squat near the stage and then we'll get into it. I have to stay away from this because of the feedback. Parkour. Okay, come on up. Come on up. We'll take about 5 people if that's okay. Awesome.
Hi, Drake.
Hey.
So I just wanted to ask, so obviously you and Josh had to do some occasional stunt work on the show. What do you think was like the most difficult stunt, or I guess I should be more specific, what was the most painful stunt to
I don't think it wasn't quite painful, but the one that I really remember, and I don't know if it was quite a stunt, but it was the chocolate milk pool in our bedroom. So they started filling that up in the morning, but we didn't shoot it until and that was like the last, because we got so messy, that was going to be the last thing we shot of the day. Well, they were filling it up with like warm water. It was just basically carnation chocolate powder mixed with water, and they started filling up in the morning with warm water. And so I would like feel it like in the morning. I was like, oh, this would be nice, you know, whatever. So that's what I'm expecting. Like I remember like touching it and it being warm, being like, okay, cool. So actually, if you watch the episode, it takes a second for me and Josh to actually pop back up out of the water. because by the time, and sound stages are freezing because of the lights and everything, you're so hot, so they keep them really cold. So it was sitting there all day in the air conditioning and the freezing, through lunch, through all of the other stuff we were shooting all day. So by the time we got to that point, we would do the whole scene, and you usually do an entire scene, and right before you're gonna do something messy, they'll be like, all right, hold! All right, do the scene from the top again, so that we don't have to we get everything before we get messy, because it'd take too long to get cleaned up. So we did it a couple times, and they're like, all right, hold! And then finally they're like, all right, this one we're gonna go all the way through, guys, fall in the chocolate milk and do your thing. And I'm like, all right. And we fall into the chocolate milk, and literally it was ice cold. I mean, I was like, oh shoot, I have to act. There's dialogue. So if you watch, there's like a split second of Josh and I realizing, oh my God, this is so freezing. So that's one I definitely remember.
Good question.
Hey Drake, my name's Steven. So my question is, how is it being able to do the superhero movie before superhero movies blew up?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, basically we just had like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man at that point, and hello, can you hear me? Okay, it keeps like going like in and out. Yeah, we just had like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man at that point, but it was, I mean, the coolest thing about that, the guys who made the Spider-Man costume for Tobey made the costume for Dragonfly, so putting it on was like legit. Like it wasn't some second-hand superhero costume. Like when you were looking in the mirror, it makes you like walk like different. You're like, oh yeah, I'm a superhero, you know? And working with Leslie Nielsen and Marion Ross and Kevin Hart and all of that, it was, yeah, I mean, I grew up on Leslie Nielsen, so getting to work with a legend like that was just incredible. And Christopher McDonald was amazing. You know, grew up with him as Shooter McGavin, and so yeah, that was a really cool experience. But the costume was definitely awesome.
Cool. Unfortunately, I am getting the light, so we have time for one more question. I'm so sorry, but if you want to see him and ask him questions, you can head on over to his table afterwards if you're going to be there. So yeah, what's your question?
Hey again. I have a lot of favorite songs by you, man, but one of my favorites, no matter how many times I play it, sing it, listen to it, I can't make sense of the interlude, Down We Fall. Can you explain to me the thought process behind that?
Okay, so the interlude is, so there's a lot of inside jokes in the interlude, like with my producer and I, that my buddy who I wrote Found a Way with. We'd always like be recording, and when I'd mess up, we'd make like I'd be like, "I Seamus," I didn't like do like little voices or whatever. Be like, go back to the beginning. And so we kind of incorporated like a bunch of those, so that, and then like, why do you have to blame me? Why? Like, it's just us being just being nonsense because we needed it. And then he had like this book by the Dalai Lama or some like whatever like Buddhist like book on his shelf, and I was like, oh, we should have something that's like similar some of the mind, and this kind of thing, like something like. And then I was like, oh, but I don't know what to write. I was like, oh, but then we'd have to sit and write something to make it like. And I was like, bro, just give me that book. Like, just hand me that book. And I just like opened to a random page, and I was like, your delicate mind, those who receive initiation. And it was like, it just worked. Like, it was like the perfect thing. Like, I don't know how I got that sentence like perfectly, but it was like the perfect sentence to put in that moment. And then obviously like, you hear like, is the cat's in that one? Or that one might be in the bridge of Found a Way, the acoustic version on It's Only Time. But I think the cat's in that one. But yeah, we would like pick up our cat and we'd be like, all right, come on. And the cat, like, you know, we were just mixing crazy sounds, and then we just meshed it all together, and it became this kind of like psychedelic Beatles thing. Yeah.
I spent way too long trying to make sense of it.
Yeah, why did he have to blame me? Why? Seamus. Oh, the delicate mind, those who receive initiation. It's just nonsense. It's just us just laughing and cracking up. We used to do a bunch of stuff like that. Like if you listen to the beginning of the album, telegraph, and you hear like the whoosh, and like the sound of a chain link fence. Well, that was every day we would walk back to he lived in a back house, and that was the walk that it took to get into the studio, and then you hear the door open, and like, so every time I hear that, I literally am back like at the space where we played. And then in like circles, we were just like outside, and we had like a bottle of something, and I was like, let's just record sound. And so we like threw a bottle against the wall and recorded it, and like put it in little places. So we were always just like, or like the dogs barking and the cats meowing and all of these different the sound of because we were right by the Burbank airport, and we would always hear the jets, the airplanes. So we like went outside and recorded that, and kind of made that whole. So it was just, we were just experimenting and having fun, you know.
Great question. Thank you so much.